Hello guys, my name is Israel from Polar Energy, and today we will be briefly going over XP Builder. XP Builder is LS Electric's software for programming HMIs. So the very first step you're going to do is just go to your browser. Oh, already had it open. The very first step is go to your browser, and you're going to type in LS Electric. LS Electric. Very first option that pops up, click on that. At the very top, you will see support and services right there in big bold letters. Under that tab, you will go to Download Center, Automation, not the power one, so Download Center Automation. Then you will look for HMI. So right here, third from the left, HMI. Select that. And then down below, right below it, you're going to go to Software. Software. And then you will look for XP Builder. It should be right here, XP Builder Software, number 5. At least it is for me anyway. You click on that, and then version number, the latest will be 3.90. All right, cool. I've already downloaded that. So once you download and set that up, you will then open it up. So you go to XP Builder, which is right here, for me at least, right here. Right there, so you guys can see it. Open that up, click yes when it prompts you to. Get a notification, the XP series is no longer supported, yada, yada, yada. I don't care about that. I'll create a new project. Here at the very top, you'll get the series and model of the HMI that you're trying to do. So I will do the EXP series, and I will do EXP40. Here, right below that, I'll get the specifications for it, 7-inch display, 800 by 480 pixels, etc., etc., etc. If you change it to something else, boom. Screen size, 10.2 inch, it'll tell you. It'll give you a physical description of the HMI you're doing, just to help you out. Okay, I'll do the 7-inch, finish, and bam. I'll just get a black background, a black screen, a blank screen, and for this tiny demo, all I'll do is I'll make 3 screens. I will name them, label them, and I don't know. Let's just program some buttons to switch in between the screens. We'll run a demo. We'll demonstrate that works, and that'll be our first quick little intro lesson to get us familiar with some of the controls. So, how do I make more screens? Here on the very left, where it says screen, we'll only have one screen. It'll be labeled 1, and it's base screen. So, right above that is insert base screen. We will double click that to make a new one. Double click, boom, you have screen 2. Double click, you have screen 3. Awesome. And if you switch between them, you really can't. You can switch between them just by double clicking them. You really can't tell them apart because they're all 3 of them are pitch black. You can also switch between them up here, right up here. 1, 2, 3. All right, so let's amend that. Let's try to get some different colors here going so we can tell between them. We can right click on 1, screen property, general, screen name. Here under screen name, we'll just name it something. We'll change its name on the very far left, on the far left tab that we see. So let's just name it base. Let's just name it screen 1. We'll go to background, tick off use background color, and our background color, should we do green? Let's do green. Okay, so we changed it to green, and then we just named it to screen 1. Easy enough. Double click, we'll go to 2. It's in black. Screen property, let's just rename that to screen 2. Screen 2, awesome. Go to background, tick that off again. Let's see, let's do this dark blue background. Okay, there we are. 1 is green, 2 is blue, and here our base screen is black. Our third base screen is black. So screen, just rename that screen 3. Screen 3. I'm going to change that to, let's do yellow. Boom, there we go. All right. So we made our screens. They're different colors. They're labeled here on the left, so you can quickly know what you're dealing with. You know, oh, I want to go to 1. I want to go to 2. I want to go to 3. You know, you can rename them whatever you want. It's just an example. Well, how do we distinguish them just by looking at them? Well, let's see. Let's just add big old text that says screen 1, screen 2. So on the very far right here, under our figure tab, you will see text. Just click text. Now that it's selected, just drag that across. And here in this big box where it's a static, you can write whatever you want your text to be. So I'll do screen 1. I'll change the font. I'm partial to Times New Roman. Let's make the font really big. Let's do 48. 48. You know, we can mess with our line spacing, all character spacing, all this other stuff. I'm not going to do that. Color of the text, it's white. I'm on green background. Okay, that works. Yeah, let's keep it with white. Font style, I want that bold, and then we can mess with the horizontal and vertical alignment. I will not. Okay, and boom. Right there in big bold letters, screen 1 in white. Cool. You can do the same thing for screen 2. Oh, wrong thing. Insert text. Same thing for screen 2. Same process. We want some Times Roman. What was the last one? 48. Let's say it was 48. Color white on blue. Yeah, we can see that. Bold that just to see it better. Boom. Nice and easy. Then we can go to screen 3, which is our yellow one. And we do text box. Drag that across. Screen 3. Times Roman in 48. Now, yellow on white, I don't think I can see that very well. Let's do yellow on black. I'll make the font black, bold, and okay. Boom. Nice big bold letters on different color backgrounds. We can see that. We can see what we're dealing with. We can see what we're dealing with on the very left, and we can see what we're dealing with here in the very center of our screen. All right. Now, let's try to put some buttons to transition between our screens without having to go here on the left to transition. You know, I don't want to do that. And plus, when we run a simulation, how are we going to transition? You know, if I run the simulation now, boom, I click on the simulation button, which is, you know, the little red square YouTube looking button on my top left. You'll see it. Well, there's nothing on my screen, you know. Like, what am I going to do? There's no buttons for me to press here on the screen. This screen is my HMI, essentially. It's my HMI screen. Well, let's remedy that. Let's put some buttons on there to transition between screens. And there's 2 ways of doing this, at least that I know of. Here on the very right, we can do 2 things. We can do change screen switch, or we can do our multi-switch. Let's do a change screen switch. I select that, and then let's just drag this across my screen 1, and then okay. So here in screen number type, screen 1, I believe you select 2. If I want to transition to 2, I press the button on screen 1, and it will launch me into screen 2. Or I think you can click browse, and then you can just select whatever screen you want, and it's 2. Okay, that's done. Display, I believe you can put a caption on the button. Let's see. On text, here on my text tab, I will select use caption, and then both when it's on and it's off, I want to say change screen, change screen. Then when it's off as well, change screen. I'm happy leaving that in Tahoma 12, whatever. Font color, let's do red. Let's do red, okay. And I believe that's everything. Boom. So there you go. I have the lettering's a little small, but you get the idea. I just put a button in there that's to change screen into screen 2. So from 1 to 2, I press it in the simulation and it sends me from 1 to 2. Okay. So let's press the simulation button here, our red YouTube looking button at the very top. Press it, and we will get this. Now I click it, and yeah, it launches me into screen 2. So let's do the same thing for our other screens. So change screen switch, drag and drop. So I want to go from 2 to 3. So I'm on 2, I press 3, and then I go to text, use caption, change screen, change screen. Now, that lettering was a little small last time, so let's kick it up to like 20. Color, let's do red again. Let's bold that up. And okay. Okay, that's a lot better than the first one. Okay, cool. Now, do the same thing, change screen switch. And here, from 3, I want to cycle all the way back to 1. So I will select 1. I will select, sorry about that. I'll go back to 1, and then in text, I will use caption, change screen, also when it's off, change screen. Let's see, a big font. What did I select last time? 20? 20. I want it to be red as well, bold so I can see it. And I believe that's everything. Okay, there we go. Cool, there are my buttons. While I'm at it, on my first screen, let's just change that back to 20. Bold so I can see it, so it pops. Boom, there we go. So now I should be able to transition between screen 1, 2, 3 just by clicking the button in the simulation. So let's go all the way back to our simulation button, that red YouTube looking button. Click that. Here we are. Here we are, screen 1. Let's see if it works. Click to change to screen 2. Screen 2. Let's see if it works. Click that for screen 3. Click it for 3. Now I click that, it should go right back to 1. Click that, back to 1. Yeah. So you just keep clicking, and you'll switch, you'll transition all those screens. Awesome. Now that works, I believe there's another way of doing the same thing. And so we just use the change screen switch right here. I'm highlighting in yellow. I think you can also use the multi-switch screen. So I select multi-switch, I drag that across. I drag that across. And here on this little main menu looking thing, I select the function change screen. Change screen. Then here on 1, you would select 2. Same thing. And it's essentially, and it'll tell you the operation type. Move to 2 screen. So I'm moving from 1 to 2. Awesome. Now, Text, same exact process. Just use that. Change screen. Off. Change screen. Let's make that big, 20. Same exact thing. Let's make that red and bold. Okay. Boom. So yeah, this is essentially it's the exact same way of doing it. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. So once we run a simulation, put that there. Either of these buttons is going to take me to screen 2. The one we programmed, obviously takes me to screen 2. We demonstrated that last time. Keep cycling, but then this button should also take me to screen 2. It's just another way of arriving at the exact same place. All right. Well, now that these kind of basic functions are out of the way, in the future we will be going over more complicated functions, other than just changing backgrounds, inserting text, inserting change screen buttons. Well, I appreciate you guys' time, and I will see you next time. Bye.